is where it's at.
How did you come into the wine thing? Like,
I mean, honestly, I was so I traveled the world doing wine tasting.
Wow. People pay you.
No, I was going on my own.
But you were trying to do that. You were trying to get into the business.
No. I was traveling anyways, right?
Oh, okay.
So I go to Athens, Greece. I go to France. I go to all these places, and I would go while I'm there.
Right.
I'd take historical site to match up what I'm learning in the Bible to be artifacts and true with what I'm seeing in history.
Wow.
And then I would also go and taste wine and do the food and wine pairing.
Wow.
So when that happened, I was doing that for a few years, and then when I moved to New York, I bought this crazy penthouse in New York, and I was having these parties at the house. And the guy that was providing all the booze for me was a guy who's like into wine. He was like, his main job was like selling wine. And he mentioned to me, he's like, Stat, you should have your own wine one day. And I thought it was just kind of bluffing. I'm like, all right, yeah, that sounds good. So I met a guy from there, and we started talking. And he's like, hey, you can definitely have your own wine. Let's talk. So we had a conversation about it. And then it took me about, for this wine right here, for the Reserve, this label, there's 3 bottles within this collection.
Wow.
So there's Reserve, which is this one. You have the Grand Reserve, and you have the Private Collection.
Which one are we drinking now?
These are from Israel. So the vineyard, this vineyard's from Israel.
Right? It's aged?
Yeah, this year right here is a 2017.
Okay.
And it took me like about 7 months to figure out the labels, because what I wanted to do was I wanted to build something for the Stoudemire name, for the family, for my children.
Right.
So that way when they get older, they can inherit something, the legacy.
Right.
And so I took 7 months to figure out the label that would become timeless, right?
Wow.
So, and these bottles are expensive.
Right.
And so what I wanted to do then is say I want to create a similar blend, but a lower price scale bottle.
Right.
And so I linked up with the family, the Herzog family out of California, and we created the new Stoudemire wine, the Origin, which is like
this is out of
California.
Okay, Napa or no?
No. Close to Napa, but it's not exactly Napa.
Okay.
I forget the actual name of the region, but it's in California.
Right.
And this is a $29 bottle.
Right.
But it has
as opposed to this one,
but it has the same flavor as the expensive bottle.
Okay.
You feel me?
What did that run you?
This right here is running you $69.
60,
this is the lowest one, 69, 79, and then 99.
Okay, cool.
Are the 3 bottles.
Right.
This is 29. For the mass public, for the people who want to taste wine and have the same type of taste, but can't afford these bottles, I want to create something less expensive for the mass public, so that's how we came up with this one. One interesting point about this bottle also is that the label, the artist Naturel, I'm not sure if y'all familiar with the art space, but Naturel is an artist, a world-renowned artist. He's actually one of 5 artists that was selected to be the artist for top sports, like the playing cards.
Right.
So out of all the artists in the world, he was chosen to be one of the top 5 artists to create that particular space for tops, for cards, right? So this bottle is not only a good bottle to drink, but it's also a collector's item because this artist is a very, very world-renowned artist. So that's why you see the 3D line of Judah kind of popping out, because it's like, that's the artist Naturel.
So speaking on wines, right? Like how does a company like a Camus, Opus One, how do we make a company like yours? How do we get to that spaces? Like where you go to Carbones and these is the actual wines that they offer you. How do we get your wine to be looked at as prestigious as those type of companies?
Yeah, you know what it is that
By the way, that was a real wine question, by the way. You know what I mean?
That's a real wine question.
That was a real wine question. I was proud of myself just now. I'm sorry.
That's a high level wine question right there.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think the answer to that is that when you create your own wine, there's like a hierarchy, right? There's like a certain group of companies that have their hands on the pulse of wine, right? So if you're able to now create a wine and get linked up with a Southern, for an example, who's like the major distributors of wine.
Right.
These guys have, accounts with the Fontainebleau. They have accounts with these major restaurants.
Right.
And so once you get involved with them, and they'll now will be able to then allow other restaurants, bars, or clubs to call them and say, hey, do you have the Stoudemire wines?
Right.
And then they have a shipload of that, and then they can send it in. Right. But if you don't have a distributor like Southern or these other companies, then people, you have to do your own thing, like talk to the club yourself, or talk to this person yourself, and like, hey, do you mind buying my wine and putting it up for sale there?
Right. Which usually they'll ask you to get connected with the distributor to make it easier.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll tell you some funny shit sometimes. Sometimes, I would just look at like I would look at Collis or Jay's, Instagram, and I would see them drinking a Dujac, right? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. And I would go like, and I would search this shit. Me and Diego, I would hit Diego right there. I would go like, you see Kyle's Instagram? Like, he's like, yeah, I'm like, those bottles right there, I want to know what those are. And I would go, and we would go to the thing, to Total Wines or whatever, and these people would say, that's a good bottle. But here's the one that's ranked this year top 99 or 90 or whatever they say, I forget what they say in the joint. And we would buy these wines that they recommend and some of them would suck.
Yeah. I mean, it all based on.
I would be like, oh shit.
Right. It's somebody else's opinion, man. I mean,
Right.
I mean, obviously, like for me, I'm the only black kosher winemaker in the world.
Right.
How about Dwayne Wade? Dwayne Wade got something too, right?
Yeah, D-Wade got a wine also.
Okay.
Yeah. So, which means that I cracked the market that was never infiltrated before.
Wow.
And
these are in stores now?
He's in stores.
Wow.
Yep.
In Miami.
In Miami, yep. In the United States.
Wow, all over. Okay, goddamn it.
Yeah. So what happens with the southern distributor? Whatever state you're in, if you want the Stoudemire wine, you got to call the company will call them and say, hey, Southern, we want 5 cases of Stoudemire wines,
Right.
and then they'll ship it out.
Right.
So it's there in that state, but you got to call. They got to call the distributor in order to get that in the stores.
Right.
And like we said, like these prestigious wine companies that's been around. What made you say your last name? Because why you didn't want to like keep it even and just?
Well, I thought about that because I wanted to somewhat.
Because like suppose a person doesn't like you as a basketball player.
Yeah.
But you still want them to buy your wine. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So. Like, what made you use your name? You know what I'm saying?
I think the reason why I did it because I wanted something to last for my children, for the family, for the legacy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For them to be able to say, all right, this is my family's wine.
Right.
That's when it comes to business, your last name. Think about all these companies that are named after their family's last name.
I seen a clip of that on Instagram the other day.
Yeah.
Like Bentley's the last name.
Bentley's the last name.
Yeah.
All these guys are Crafts, the last name. All these are last names
that become brands that you forget is even a name.
Right,
And that's what you want. For it to
sure.
be just a brand that rings.
Yeah, so for all that, economic empowerment, it's about really being able to provide a legacy for my children so when they become my age, they can say, this is my family's wine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they can have that prestige conversation with their friends and say, hey, we can talk boss talk. You feel me? We can talk that talk because this is my family's wine.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I wanted to name it after like my last name for the family.
Wow, that makes it much up.
You never had any confusion with Damon Stoudemire?
Yeah. Well, no, not recently. But when I first got to the league, they asked me like, "Is that your family?" And I told my uncle about that. I was like, "Unc, are we related to the Stoudemires with the A instead of the E last name?"
He was point guard for the Trailblazers.
Yeah, he was like, "Actually, we do because when the Stoudemires came to America, they migrated to different parts of America, and through that transition, the lettering was changed." In the last name, so he's
Where's the name come from originally?
Stoudemire is like they say it's a Greek last name, or not a Greek, German last name.
You play ball, something though?
Not really.
Okay. You one of them tall niggas that don't know how to play ball? No!
I'm one of them tall niggas that was like, man, I ain't finna be playing basketball for free. And I see niggas like getting $100 million.
You know what?
I'm trying to make my son play.
I think about my questions before I ask them. I swore you was gonna say, yeah, nigga, I'm trying to do it. He's gonna bite you. You know we got the out of shape Olympics. we play handball on Friday. Yeah. Play. Who laughed when they?
I saw that handball. N.O.R.E. like.
I'm gonna make this sport. I'm gonna take this sport national, man. I'm gonna make it national. It's gonna be for. It's an old Puerto Rican game, New York Puerto Rican game, man. In my
I see you be running and shit, right?
Nah, I fell off, man. I got injured, but I fell off. I'm gonna get my life back together though. But then I got injured that day. I thought I was doing ill with the handball. Turned around and ran into a weight. It was literally a weight on the floor. Boom! My big toe, my toe like this.
Football.
Yeah, my toe like this right now. I can't even hardly walk. But I'm gonna recover. I'm coming back. So we're gonna invite you to the games. You should never play handball.
Never played handball in life.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say? There's racism in our community, man. If you don't know handball, you've never played handball, you have been dealing with racism, man.
Yeah.
Not just playing. Not the right choice of words. But baseball?
Nah, I run 3 miles every day though, so I'm good. Like,
I'm talking about growing up. You ain't played no
growing
type of
up, man. I
sports?